Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope you're well. I am Dr. Tammy. I am your success strategist and literacy educator. I help you strategize how to move in the direction of more and prepare for what's next. And today we are back. It is Friday. It's Friday. Happy Friday. So we are back. And what do we do on Fridays here in the Catalyst for Change Global community? We talk about books. And so today we are back to talk about our March selection, which is Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, Embracing a Digital Future by Fred Brandon. And we are here. So what we want you to do before we get started and get into this and share a little bit, I want you to definitely say hello to us in the comments. Share this out. If you know anyone who's been interested in learning more about blockchain technology or cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, I know you've probably heard of that, then definitely invite them here so they can hear some of the nuggets that we'll pull out today. We'll just pull out a few because you'll have to get the book in order to really see what's really going on. And so let me just put up that. How can you get the book? You're probably wondering, right? You can get the book. You can get the book by going to www.adoptingblockchain.com, or of course, it's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, I believe. So you can get it at any of those three places, and so we encourage you to get it. So we're going to talk about it. So now, like this is monumental. I just want to say, and if you haven't commented, make sure you comment. This is monumental because I'm talking about this publicly. I am sharing this publicly. But y'all know what? Because y'all know how I am, I have to bring my girls with me. I have to bring my crew, part of my community with me. So today I have two of our community members that are actually reading with us. And I know some of you are reading with us. One, wait a minute. You haven't shown up for our discussions, but thank you for reading with us. And two, you have, but you missed me last week. So I hope to see you next week. So we are inviting you to join us. You can follow the community and join us and get into the group and know how to connect with us and join our discussions at any events that the Catalyst for Change Global community is having by go to meetup.com, C4C Global. If you're on Facebook, though, the cool thing about Facebook, I can typically post an event. So I usually post an event on the Catalyst for Change Global page. So you can follow that page and follow us there too, and follow the events there as well. So if you're here, please say hello to us in the comments. Tell us where you're joining from. And of course, because y'all know I'm not doing this alone, I'm going to bring my girls in here and I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we're just going to dive right in. So we hope that you will engage with us in the comments and share what you know, or if you have questions that may be a little trivia for us. So you may want to ask us questions in the comments, see if we know. If not, you know what I'm gonna say? I'll find the answer and I'll get back to you. All right, so let me get them in here. Yay. Hello. Thank you all for joining me today. Thank you for being here and being brave to come on camera, because you know this has been the thing. Like, I get people to discuss with me and read with me, but to get people to come on camera on Friday, sometimes it's like pulling teeth. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule, your day, and joining me. So let's just say, let's start with you introducing yourself. You can decide who wants to go first, but let's introduce ourselves and get that rolling, and then we'll just dive right into the book. How about that? Does that work? All right. Who wants to go first?
You want to go first?
It doesn't matter. I'm always on here. I was going to let you go first.
All right, Tanya, we'll let you go.
Okay, well, my name is Tanya Reeves, known as Tanya Survives. This is my first time doing this, so I'm kind of new to the cryptocurrency game. I was introduced to it by a couple of people, Tammy being one of them. So I'm very excited to get into this, dig into this, because I want to be able to educate my children, my adult children, on how cryptocurrency works so that we can learn how to do generational wealth. I am Tanya Survives, domestic violence and sexual abuse advocate. So, one of the things that I'm trying to do is make things happen differently in the lives that I touch, and one of those being cryptocurrency. I know this is a great avenue to help women who are trying to start over to build generational wealth for their children, because usually coming out of those situations, they're coming out of those situations with little to no money. So forget about a savings account. They're barely making ends meet. So this is a great way for them to be able to save money via via digital currency for their families. So thanks for introducing me, Tammy.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. All right, Elegant Granny, let me oops. Hey, there we go. Elegant Granny. So your turn. Work this magic over here.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Elegant Granny, and I am a restoration strategist and creator and host of the Proactive Eye podcast. And what I do as a restoration strategist, I support victims and survivors of abuse as they transition to a healthier lifestyle. And one of the things that I do as a volunteer in my community, I support the women in the domestic violence prevention program as a mentor in the finance department. I teach them finance classes. So when this book came into the book club for this month, I was like, wow, this is really it. This is really it, because this is something that's as they transition, they're already striving to change their mindset on how to do things differently. And this is something that will also, it can help them shift into the way the future is going. So I'm very excited about this. You can reach me at the link here. You can find my podcast link there. You can find my website there. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay. So we're just going to dive right in. I am just checking on things and I was trying to share this out. So if you haven't shared it out, share it out. Join us. All right. Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to talk about some of the things, maybe a quote or idea that you found insightful, or maybe it's just something that resonated with you and you were like, oh yeah, I get that, or just something in here. So we're just going to pull out a few for those of you that are joining us and just share some of the ideas mentioned in here, and we'll just give you our reaction to it and how it fits into our personal belief. One of the things that we talked about in our discussion was how it's really first and foremost a mindset thing, and wrapping your mind around a shift between having a paper money to moving into a digital currency, and internet money, right? So we'll be talking about some of those things. So some of the things that resonated with us as a group, as a community, were those things. So we'll talk about that as well. So what we may just end up talking about are those things, but that was probably the biggest thing. If I had to say a takeaway from the actual discussion, was the idea that we realized that it was just a shift in mindset, that it's something that we have been engaged in for some time, but we just don't think of it the same way. So therefore, part of it, and really capitalizing on our use of it, is probably shouldn't have used that word when we're talking about currency, but nonetheless, English language, all these definitions, right? But anyway, the way to really capitalize it and utilizing it is really just thinking about it and how we think about it. So anyway, so we'll just dive right in. So ladies.
You want us to start?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
So one of the things, what I liked about this is, as we talked and discussed last night, we kind of crept on the thing that we're pretty much already there. Well, one of the other ladies who was with us last night, when we were talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency and doing a digital wallet, we're pretty much already there with our credit cards and our debit cards, our ATM cards. We're pretty much doing that already, or through Cash App or Google Pay and Apple Pay. We're pretty much there already. So that makes it a little bit more comfortable. So it's not like it's a complete foreign language, like you never touched it. You have touched it. It's just that this is something that's like, okay, let's take it another step further. This is like going from third grade and now you're ready to go to the fourth grade. That's how I feel about this right now.
Yeah.
So, that made it easier when she said, hey, we're pretty much doing it anyway with those means. And I'm like, you know what? We really are.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
For me, I'm in total agreement with your Trifania. I hope I said your name right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or you can call it Elegant Granny.
Elegant Granny. So I just wanted to say too that with the whole thing, because I probably was the one I think you might have been referring to as far as asking a question about shifting to from regular cash to digital. And like you said, most of the time we leave out of the house with just a credit card and ID. Especially with all of the things that's going on with the carjackings and stuff like that. It's just a little bit more safer for me not to carry a whole lot of cash around. But now this cryptocurrency is taking the game to a whole nother level. Um, the other thing I wanted to say, the point I wanted to say is when I was reading the book, the first thing I wanted to do, I usually start from the beginning, but this time I went straight to the end of the book, looking at the glossary section because I didn't know anything about cryptocurrency. And in order for me to understand what's going on, I needed to know what the terms meant. In order for me to be able to share with someone else or even discuss it with my peers or the women that I mentor, I need for them to understand exactly how I understand it so that we can have a intelligent conversation. So that's
Yeah.
one thing I did like about that. He gave a good glossary explaining the terms and even on down to step by step of getting started and how you can share with other people peer to peer. So those are the things that stood out for me. And when I say
Awesome.
peer, the Cash App, the PayPal, and things like that.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. And I was going to ask you that because as a literacy professor, that's one of the things I'm always interested in how people read it. And of course, that's what I was going to recommend, probably toward the end, but we'll just talk about it now, was the way we read it. And I definitely think people should probably start with the glossary because even though there are terms throughout the book and they're in there, it's also just good to kind of start there. It's kind of like when you take a test, you read the questions and then you go back, you read the passage, you read the questions and you go back and then you answer. Like you don't do it right away. Like most people want to go and just start and dive in, but you have to do some background work first. And so, so part of that with this book is looking at the glossary of terms, and it is quite extensive. So really a plus to this particular book. I agree. So, but I don't know, but because and I'm one of those people that, I always got to look through. I got to see I got to see how long it is. I got to see what it's like, because I got to be, I got to be in the mood for reading, and not really, but what I'm reading, not for I read too much, but probably I don't get much done, but the content that I'm reading, I have to really be in the mindset for it. So I have to see is this one thing that I'm gonna sit here and just do it in one sitting, or do I need to break this up? Right. And I found myself, the way I broke it up for us as a discussion group is how I broke it up for me. Is I did part one, kind of read that at one point in time on a day, let that kind of marinate, kind of went back through that. And then I did part two. And that's kind of how our discussion went. And then I thought, okay, now let's look at it all together and how it all works. And so that's how I split up the discussion, is because that's how I read it. So, but that's a good addition. Read the glossary first. Trifania, did you do anything different than you normally do with this particular book?
Yeah, what Tanya said, the glossary, trust me, y'all, that makes it a lot easier. And what I did was I started with the glossary and read it just like Tanya said. Then I read the book. And then after reading the book, I went back through to started with the glossary again. And I went through each term and I looked at each term and then I researched each term. And that's why I have a notebook full of, notes and stuff like it. You know how I do, I can't help it. But
It's all good.
trust
I
me,
love it. I
y'all,
love it. I love it.
it's thin, but it's like 42 pages with the hard copy, but there's a lot of unpacking to do in this book. And
Yeah.
trust me, if you start with the glossary first, that is to me, that's the best feature of the book, because it really, if you have absolutely no clue, like me, of what
Like
it's
it.
all about and all of that, that glossary really helps, because you can use the glossary to do your own, to do other research and see how this applies to you and see how it will benefit you most.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely agree because, part of it, and one of the things when I was telling the computer, like people were inboxing me about it, and I said, now it's an introduction. Like, this is not going to be a full-on class. That's something you probably got to pay for, but this is an introduction, and we're going to get into it. And part of it is the terminology. But when you think about it, it's really more than an introduction. And I said that, I thought, now that we've been through it, I'm thinking I misspoke because really it's so much content that, like you say, it leads you to other research and you have questions. And initially our discussion started out to be, first it was going to be 2 weeks. And I said, well, March is 3 weeks left. Let's do the 3 weeks because we'll do kind of a wrap up, final discussion. And then we got into it. And now we've added a week because, we still need to talk about some of the other things that are addressed in here a little bit, like some of the resources and reading the white paper and looking at some of those things that we haven't even touched that. So and some of those apps actually helps you earn more Bitcoin. So so we'll be talking about those secrets. So if you want to know, you got to join us. But yeah, absolutely. So anything else, any other highlights or quotes or anything that resonated with you in the book that we want to share with the audience and give them a little tease so they'll join us on Thursday? Hey, Marsha. Marsha's
The
here.
one thing that I did want to address again is the peer-to-peer networking.
Okay. Do you remember? Do you have what? Well, yours is an e-copy, but I was gonna say what page.
Because
But
mine is hold on. So you know where the section that says getting started?
okay,
It's like 2 pages before that.
okay,
And
all right.
it says it's right after cryptocurrency or crypto for short, and then it's peer-to-peer a network that operates without the need for a central server or point of control. In a
Right.
peer-to-peer network, people are able to interact without a middleman. So
Yes.
I like that part is because you can share your Bitcoin, your Satoshi or whatever. You can share it with your children, friends, and family. You can gift it to people
Mhm.
without a big production about it. Like unlike when you have an IRA account or some type of 501c3. Not sorry.
No.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like
The
investment accounts, right?
Yeah, 403ks and stuff like that on your job. 401ks and 403ks. So when you have those retirement benefits set up on your job, whenever you transact money, you have to report it to, the IRS and all these other things. And with this cryptocurrency, you can actually trade back and forth with your family, gift back and forth to your children and family members and friends without a big to do about it.
Right, because I know that some places you have to one day you have to have wait so many days. You have to also with certain amounts it requires certain approvals and certain signatures and this and that, so sometimes those
Right.
restraints, and this is peer-to-peer because it is decentralized. It's not housed anywhere. It's not at a bank. You can't just go and get it. When we're talking about Bitcoin, like there are some, we didn't really talk about it as much, but there are the CBDCs, which is the central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
And so those are those. But when we were talking about peer-to-peer and what the real reason or the purpose of it, that was one of them. That is peer-to-peer. You take out that middleman. And so that, yeah. That's a really cool feature. And of course, that's talked about extensively in the book. So
Yeah.
get the book. Get the book. But yeah. And that was one of the reasons it was created. The other reason was double spending as well.
Yeah.
Right. So that was another one. So when you talk about that, I think about the double spending and how, and if anybody's had a checking account and you have money in your account and you spend money and then you go into overdraft,
Or
that's
if your bank, say you're out somewhere, you could be at the mall or in a different city, and your bank doesn't have an ATM in that area, you get paid for withdrawing your own money. And with this, you don't
the
have to pay
fees.
your money. $3, $4 just to take out $20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a good one. Elegant
What I
Granny.
like, what I liked is that we are actually utilizing blockchain a lot more than we think we are. We
Okay. So the
just
technology of it.
yes, the technology of it, because
Okay.
on page 23 in the hard copy, it talks about 5 different industries and how they use it. And I remember in healthcare, because I'm still involved in healthcare a little bit. And I remember hearing the term blockchain, for record keeping talked about years ago. And that's one of the top industries that is used for it. Is if you're in the healthcare, supply chain, intellectual property, voting, or energy industry, you're already on some level utilizing blockchain, and you probably don't even realize that you're using it. So
Right.
you can research or ask around if your company or in your industry, if it's being used, and try to look into how they're utilizing to store things, and then maybe that'll help you be able to understand a little bit more of how this will work when it comes to finances or currency.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, we're saying that, like, people know the definition, but people probably like, what is blockchain? Like, what is that? And so, we talked about that in our group. It's defined in the book, and in our discussion, we talked about it. And it's a distributed ledger, right? And it's just a block with transactions on it, right? Same thing like you do with your checkbook. You have, well, those of you that used to back in the day, now I'm showing my age. Remember the checkbook, you had your little ledger, you write your little transactions on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing, except now this is more of a database. Like it's not on paper. And so that technology holds it. And once it's there, like it can't be changed, it can't be altered. So it is there. And so some of what Trifania was talking about are those use cases, right? The use cases in healthcare where they maybe do patients' records, those things that you want permanent. Like there's some things you don't want on a blockchain. You don't want any record of it. So those you probably don't want to put on there. But those things that are good, like she was saying about the use cases and looking at it from, storing record keeping, the accessibility of records, like for the patients and things like that, like those things, that may be beneficial. So we also talked about that, but in the book, it goes extensively on even how to recognize, like if your organization, if your institution, if your company needs it, needs to utilize it, and for whatever you're doing, if it is appropriate. So there's even a nice little chart in here that actually delineates, like where you can kind of go through and see if that's something that you would use the blockchain for. Would it be something Would it be, public or private and some of those things, or would it just be something that's in the cloud? So, it goes into all of that. And I know we're talking and you're probably like, what are they talking about? That's why we're here. We're just here to tease you. So you get the book.
Yeah.
And join our discussion on Thursday, April 1st at 5:30 Central. But yeah. Yeah, and I like the use cases, especially we just had some voting going on. And one of the ones that was mentioned was voting. And yeah, that may have helped with those votes, making sure that they were accurate and that everybody was being counted. There was no fraud, all of that. So yeah, so it talks about those and how it's being used in certain industries. But not everything needs to be on a blockchain, but there are some things that it can be really beneficial. So yeah. So anything else? Anything else?
Get the book. Wait a minute, my little sticky. Get the book.
I know I had mine on there. And I said, oh, let me take it off. Because, I usually have flags and stuff. So for my discussion, I always got to say, let's take it off, take it off, take it off.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show my ebook then, since and you can get it on ebook.
Yeah.
And Tresenia put her post-it back on there.
Oh, I forgot.
We gotta do it again.
I didn't want to lose it.
I'm waiting on my book to come in from my Amazon. So I did go ahead and order it after we got done talking yesterday. So I'm just waiting on Amazon to deliver it. It should be here tomorrow.
Yay! Marsha got hers. Marsha joined us for the discussion. She's been joining us all the way from London,
Marsha.
UK, and she's gotten her book. She's got it today. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So really excited about everyone getting it and joining our discussion. Anything that I can help, answer or direct you in the right place. Because the one thing I'm really passionate about is that one, you accumulate cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, and you keep it. And I think Tanya mentioned earlier about Satoshis, and some of you probably wondering about those Satoshis. So that's one thing that I will clarify. Like Satoshis, that is Bitcoin. It's just a smaller unit of Bitcoin. We have pennies and a dollar, and then there's Satoshis in Bitcoin. So same thing. And we talked about how that breaks down, as far as the amount and all of that. So yeah, we had a great discussion. We learned a lot. We even started stacking them. We're even learning the lingo of the land, stacking Satoshis, stacking our sats. So we're even doing some of that. So we're already doing that. And so, I hope that some of you will ask questions below. Definitely connect with us. Like I said, let me put it up again, because I want you to join us if you can. Join us in the meetup group. If you go to meetup.com, C4C Global, you can join us in the reading community. You can RSVP. And when you RSVP, I will send you the link. We usually talk about this in Zoom, and then on Fridays we come live and just kind of give some highlights. And so some of the things that we said, you're probably doing, what are they talking about? I am so confused. But the one thing we want you to get is that this is something you need to do more research about. We encourage you that if someone has talked to you about it, that you start asking them questions and you start just doing a few searches, looking at some YouTube channels and doing that. Definitely connect with the author and get the book. So I definitely encourage you to get the book and connect with the author and, learn more in the space. So ladies, anything else? Any final words, any final things that we talked about that you want to share? I know we'll probably be back next Friday one last time, but anything today that we want to just point out that people can?
I did have one other thing that I wanted to say that it popped up in my head when you were talking. I like how with different countries, and the reason why I said that because I saw that Marsha being from Europe. So I was looking at the fact that when we talk about the value of the dollar, some countries the dollar is worthless. Some countries the dollar is more valuable. But with the Bitcoin and the different cryptocurrencies, it takes away that demeaning, feeling when you from a country where the dollar isn't that great, and or versus the dollar is so much more. It takes away that stigmatism,
Yeah.
and it makes us more universal. It makes us more equal, and I think part of the reason why a lot of this is happening is giving people, like you said, a level playing field, where
Yeah.
before, certain classes of people were at the bottom of the totem pole. This gives everybody an opportunity to be equal and come up to the top versus always struggling behind, always falling behind. And
Right.
and, then, and being in the African American community, that is like a stain in our history.
Yeah.
This is going to kind of help erase some of that. And I just,
Yeah.
pray that everybody understands it. And that's why you got to get the book so that
Yeah.
you can understand
Yeah.
what the whole thing is about cryptocurrency. Because I used to think that it was a way for somebody to take all my money,
Yeah.
through cyberspace. And now that I'm learning about it, I'm like, wow, I got this, because I just looked at my account today, and I'm like, wow, I got this much. I didn't know. I would have been a millionaire by now had I believed when someone first tried to tell me about it.
Yeah, it's all good. And that's the thing. Like, part of it is knowing that, one, we talked about, like, most people see the price of it and they
Yeah,
get like, oh, I can't afford that. But that's what we want to know. Like, there's a smaller unit to it. Like, you can
yeah,
purchase a smaller unit to it. And that's what you can start accumulating. And you can work your way up to that. And even if you don't reach that, the more that you accumulate, the better you'll be off in the future when our society shifts. And maybe it's not even you. We even talked about that. It may not even be you. It may be your children or
yeah,
grandchildren
yeah.
that benefit. But I know that when you're talking about our community, that's one thing that typically is part of the issue and the struggle is passing on our assets. We
Yeah,
typically don't have our our paperwork in place. We typically don't have um, any instructions on how that's going to shift hands and who gets it and what to do with it and how to manage it and all of that. And so part of what we're talking about in our discussion is that, and that's kind of where we wrapped up on yesterday when we were discussing, and we're going to continue to talk about next week, is how do we do that? How do we transfer this wealth that we're accumulating, even if we don't get to utilize it like we think and want to, that the projections are right now, because we don't know when our date is, that it's at least something that you can pass on and accumulate wealth. I can't tell you how many people I know who own property and they don't have a will, even. They don't
right,
have a trust. They don't have anything to pass that on. And so the whole purpose of me doing this book is, one, to get us to think about the future and what our financial situation and how we're going to build generational wealth for the future, but also how we're going to leave that. And then to know, like, this is something that, if you look at any of, some people are in investing, but if you look at any of the things you're invested in and you compare it with Bitcoin, that over the past 10 years, it's probably, it has performed the best. And so, and because you have people like Tesla and people like that, the institutions and stuff getting into this, it's not going away. It's
right,
not going anywhere. One of the things that we also shared in the discussion was who's actually accepting Bitcoin right now. Like, there are places like Starbucks and KFC and Home Depot that are already accepting Bitcoin right now. So it's going to be around. So we're just encouraging people to start learning about it, start researching about it. We've chosen the book to use this as an introduction, like look, I'm just going to say it like it is. I'm promoting this as an introduction because it's really helped me as an introduction into learning more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. You have to understand the technology so you'll know about the actual currency and what that means. And there's so many different types of cryptocurrency. Of course, in our discussion, we're really only talking about Bitcoin, and that's it. Because some of the other ones, Bitcoin is the granddaddy of them all. It's the
yeah,
first one. All the other ones are alternative coins, and you'll hear them say alternate coins. And so they're not as good. I always want to go with number one. So that's what I'm promoting, because those other coins, you really have to research. You really have to read their white papers. You really have to read about them in order to know their what they're used for, why they were created, and to know what you're supporting. Because you may be investing in something that's less than a penny, but it may not be worth anything or have any projection for anything, or it may just end and you lose your money completely. So Bitcoin is the one that has historically um, been something that's shown that is worth investing in. So we've been talking about that and how you can get started and all of that. And Thursday we'll be back. April 1st, we'll be back to discuss, and we're going to add some resources. We're going to add to what the book has provided. And we're just going to finish our discussion and talk about this generational wealth that Tanya mentioned. Like, we're going to just talk about that and what that could look like, because you'll have to go to an estate planner, but just to start thinking about how this is going to work, because it's going to be around a while and you may not live as long as it is around. So you got to prepare for that. So yeah, that was a great thing to bring up. And of course I had to add my own little soapbox to it. So but so those are some of the things that are talked about in here. It talks about the history, it talks about that. But yeah, and I love that it starts out with the technology and then it goes into cryptocurrency, because we all get stuck on the cryptocurrency. And what I remember from the song, I wish I remember the people who sung it. Somebody else may hear. If you're my age, you may show your age if you agree with me. But there was a song talking about the mighty dollar. It talks about that, the mighty dollar. I don't remember the name of the song. I'm drawing a blank. I should know it. My daddy listened to that group forever. But anyway,
money. That's the name of the song.
But who sings? That's what I keep
the
getting.
OJs.
OJs. Yes. So somebody's showing their age with me.
My pastor's wife, that was her favorite song. So whenever she wanted to bless somebody, she would start singing that song, so we would know that somebody was finna get a blessing.
Somebody about to get some money. But that's what we want to think about. We always think about money. And even when people talk about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, they talk about, well, how much money and how much did I make and when can I sell? And we're like, no, you're getting this to hold it. Right. So keep it. You want to keep it, let it grow, let it build. Don't be so quick to give up and cash out of it. So we talk about all of those things. So yeah. All right. Any other final words? Because y'all know I can go on, but I know we're down to our time.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I like when I did ask that question when Mr. Brandon had mentioned it's like buying a house. If your house lose value or gain value, are you just gonna sell it right away just because the value of your house fluctuated a little bit? And I liked that he put it that way, because I was so nervous the other day when I seen my
sweaty palm.
Right, everything was going down, and I'm like, no, go back up. And I was
just hold it, just hold on. Yeah, because if anybody who has had property or a house and you get it appraised every year, it kind of fluctuates, and you just gotta kind of breathe through it.
It's like when a house across the street from my dad, it was listed at $120,000. And I don't know how much it sold for. It might have sold for $130,000. And I was excited, because then that means my dad's property value is going to go up a little bit.
Exactly.
So I was happy about that.
Yeah, so just and that's key too. Like, there's always these other things that are in play. You got to pay attention to the news. You got to pay attention to what's going on politically. You got to pay attention to all these things that may be affected. And most of that stuff is temporary. So just hold on. Hold on.
Don't throw in the towel. I told a young lady, don't tap out yet.
Don't tap out yet. So ladies, I'm going to give you the opportunity to give your final thoughts and just tell people how they can connect with you. And we'll just wrap it up with that. And so we hope that you all will join us on Thursday. We'll be discussing this coming Thursday. Let me just say the date, because depending on when you watch it, this may be a little old and after the fact, but April 1st 2021 at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. We'll be discussing. We usually stay in there about an hour, hour and a half, and we discuss whatever questions you have and whatever. You can join us. It's free for now. Since we're reading it, it is free, so you can come in and join us. And we also give away some Satoshis. So, like we said, that's the smallest unit of a Bitcoin. So you can come in and get some Satoshis and start working up to that Bitcoin that you see at that price. So, all right, ladies, who wants to go first?
You can go first.
All right. What
Gonna
I'm gonna
reverse
say
it on
is,
me.
um, what I'm gonna say is, y'all, please get this. Let me take my post-it back off. Get this book. Get this book. And like we were saying, there is a glossary in the back of the book, glossary and key terms. And like I said, if you have no idea of what's going on with these words that we're throwing at you, get the book. It will help you. Research the glossary and key terms. Also, think about how you are making exchange of currency right now within the states, not without the states, but within the states. Think about how less you deal with cash in your hands now versus 10 years ago, versus 5 years ago, even versus last year. Most people now use their credit or their debit card or ATM card now more than they carry cash, because a lot of people just do not care for carrying cash. Or most people now use Apple Pay or Google Pay, because all you have to do is take your phone and your ID. That's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. So yeah, that in itself helps when you think on those terms. And as you're reading this book, it'll help you to apply and think about what is being said in the book as you think about how you're already applying it in your everyday life. And once again, here's my information. You can find me at Elegant Granny on all social media. There's my link tree where you can find me on my website. You can call me. My email is also for yourgrannyforever@gmail.com. I am a restoration strategist and also creator and host of the Proactive Eye podcast, where we talk about intimate partner violence, also known as domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, and sexual violence, and also suicide prevention as it relates to abuse. As a restoration strategist, I support victims and survivors of abuse as they transition from their toxic relationship to a healthier relationship. So that's who I am. That's Elegant Granny, and you can find me on my link tree.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Tanya, your turn.
Okay, again, I am Tanya Survives on Facebook, and I have my email address, lifeempowermentzone@gmail.com. I'm also a domestic violence advocate as well as Elegant Granny. I help women. I encourage and empower women who are victims, teaching them how to become victorious over their circumstances. I teach them how to become self sufficient and how to navigate around the residual effects of domestic violence and sexual abuse. I am a survivor myself, so I'm very passionate about everything that I do. And I'm always looking for people to connect with, people to work with me on helping these women get their lives back. Um, and just building a network of people. So if you're interested in working with me, networking with me, please feel free to inbox me, email me, or just contact me on social media. Um, as she had posted earlier, I am also a part of a anthology, 40 Days of Fuel. There's a pre-sale going on right now of $20. My cash app is $ Miss T Reeves 1030. That is my Cash App handle. If you would like to order that book, I also have some other books that I'm selling. I do bundle packages. So if you buy more than one book, of course, you're going to get a huge deal, which I'll go over once you contact me and express interest in buying that book. But I wanted to say that I'm excited about what's happening in the economy, and I encourage everybody who is watching this video to go ahead and purchase the book, Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency. Um, I think about how much money I was spending at these restaurants, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, paying $10, $15 on coffee for coffee and a donut, a coffee and a sandwich. And I'm looking like, wow, I can just take this money and invest it back into my family via cryptocurrency instead of spending 20. Not knocking any of these restaurants, but I just wanted to say that instead of saying I can't afford to save money, you can't afford not to. You can't afford not to get involved in this cryptocurrency. You cannot afford to not put money aside or crypto money aside for your children. You must get involved in this digital coin society, because at the end of the day, who knows what's going to happen 10 years from now if the paper money is even going to be still around. So you want to just put yourself in a position to be able to be able to function as a family, let alone just being able to pay your bills.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So y'all make sure y'all connect with my girls. Make sure that you stay in touch with them if they said anything that resonated with you today. Let's reach out to them, connect with them, connect with the author, Mr. Fred Brandon, and get the book, Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency. We hope that you will take it and grab a copy and read it and join us in discussion like we're discussing this right now. And you can join us in discussion, and we're just kind of letting it flow. So our next book will start late April, so we have a few weeks of cushion. So we're just trying to see how much time we need to get through the content. Like I said, it is really rich in content, and so therefore we're just allowing it to flow. And like I said, our 3 weeks has turned into 4, and then we'll see where we end up on Thursday. It may be 5. We'll just see how that works out. And before we start our next book, probably at the beginning of May, but later this month. I have it at the end of the month, but we'll see how that goes. So, just join us. You can grab the book. I will put up where you can get it from one last time before we exit stage right or left, where however you close your app on whatever platform you're on. You can go to www.adoptingblockchain.com, Amazon, or Barnes and Noble, and grab your copy. There is an e-copy, so you can download the copy and have it instantly. And once you hit buy, you can have it, or you can get the e-copy. And there is shipping in other countries. So even if you're not in the US of A, you can get your copy just like Marsha did in the London, UK. You can get it. So just know that that is available to you. And I hope that you, even if you don't read with us, that you'll pick it up and read it and use it as an introduction to um, your education, your learning around the topic of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. And you may see a few things from me coming soon, so just stay tuned. But anyway, join us. You can always join us and go to our meetup.com, C4C Global, and join us there. That way, anytime I have an event, whether it's around the book club or other events that I am hosting and or participating in, I typically post those in the community so that way you can join us. So I invite you to go there and just click on join this group and just be a part of it. And that way, when you see an event, you can RSVP, because now that we're in a virtual world, we're doing a lot of things and video conferencing software. And so I usually share those links, and not all of them I share them publicly unless there's registration attached. And so I typically just send it to those who RSVP, those I know who are genuinely interested. So if you're wondering, why didn't I get the link to that discussion? Probably because you didn't hit the RSVP. So hit that button, and whatever platform you're on when you see the event, and join us. We will be back. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. Bye. Oh, wait. Let me bring everybody back on so we can go out right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Tammy, for having us.